Hi guys, my name is Monica, and as you probably already know if you saw my introduction, I am going to be doing my presentation on the Zodiac and, its constellations slash astrological signs. Um, while we all have, the same idea that astrology is not considered a science anymore, the original astronomical observations regarding the Zodiac were and very much are still science based. It does, in fact, have a purpose in both astronomy and astrology. So, on that note, I'm going to try and tie in the science of the zodiac with the creation um, of the astrological signs and constellations. So, if you're like me and try to understand and figure out everything and anything relating to a certain subject, you too might be asking how these things just might be created one day. It always interests me how somebody just comes up with an idea like this vast. I don't know, that kind of stuff is always pretty cool to me. So, you know, like I said, you might be asking how or who created these things one day? How did each one get their name? What does it mean? Why are the signs important? Um, these are the types of questions I asked myself and will attempt to try and answer today. And at first, I'll be talking about my topic, and towards the end, there will be a few visuals. I might try to put some without. I'm not tech savvy, so forgive me for this video. Probably not going to be the best, but I'm going to try and tie everything together, and I hope you enjoy it. So, to begin with, considering we are all in the same astronomy class, you have probably all heard of the term zodiac, but do you really know what it is, where we find it? Well, if you guessed the sky, you guessed right. It's in the sky and it's all around us. So the zodiac is an entire area of the sky centered upon the ecliptic, and it extends 9 degrees on either side to be exact. The orbit of the moon and the planets also lie within the zodiac as well, if you didn't know that. The Earth itself orbits on a flat plane around the sun, therefore we often see the same stars against the sun. These recognizable constellations became known as the constellations of the zodiac, and as we know, there are 12 of them. There are 12 for a reason, and that reason would be because the zodiac is divided into 12 30-degree portions that divide the celestial sphere. They form what is called the ecliptic coordinate system, and just as a little side note, because I think it's pretty cool, lunar and solar eclipses occur when the moon crosses the ecliptic as well, hence the word eclipses. I don't know if everybody knows that, but it does take 1 year for Earth to orbit the sun, as we all know. So the sun travels, so to say, through the same path over the course of the year passing in front of different constellations. Although Earth is the one actually moving, the sun moving is just an illusion to us here on Earth. So the sun, as we are seeing it from Earth, appears to be in front of or revealing different constellations. The zodiac helps us to better understand the motion of the sun and the Earth. Many cultures explore the zodiac and its constellations, such as the Chinese, the Greeks, the Egyptians. The list is pretty much endless as far as cultures that, recognize some form of constellations, horoscopes, zodiacs. If I were to sit here and explain them all or list them all, we'd probably be here for a very long time. So, on that note, there are even ancient cultures, such as the Mesopotamians, Sumerians, and Babylonians, that either took part in the creation of the zodiac or certain ideas regarding it. I mean, after all, somebody had to come up with the whole idea. It doesn't just appear someday without people coming up with things. We would probably be missing out on a lot. So, even though many cultures explore the ideas, the names, the shapes observed, and the number of constellations do sometimes differ. What I mean by that is, for example, like Virgo, it's depicted as a goddess. So when you look up in the sky and you look for the Virgo constellation, the outline of it looks like a woman, but not every culture sees that the same way. So for Taurus, they might not see a bull, they might, have have their own depiction of it. They might see it differently than we do, but that's how we see it. The 12 that we know of, at least. While all of this is rooted in Greek mythology, the Babylonians are known to be responsible for the creation of astrology, and not to mention the word zodiac itself is Greek for what it means, a circle of animals. So zodiac means circle of animals. I think maybe that's why we have a lot of like animal-based constellations, maybe. But aside from that, Egypt is actually credited for the creation of the zodiac and its origins. The earliest reference to the zodiac was actually found in Egypt, and it dates all the way back to the 1st century BC and was known as the Dendera zodiac. That's a pretty well-known term. I don't know that everybody knows about it, but once you Google it and stuff, you find that it is well-known. The Dendera zodiac is believed to be the oldest horoscope, and it was found on the ceiling in the Temple of Hathor, or Hathor, if that's how you say it, in Egypt itself. It is a relief sculpture, and it depicts a few of the modern-day zodiac signs, such as Scorpio and Taurus. And real quick, just as a little side visual, I guess, I found a video on YouTube from a guy's channel. His name was Martin Falks, and the source for the video is in the same thread that you opened up to view my video. So I'm going to go ahead and show you that and then resume my speech. So I hope you enjoy it and find it as cool as I did.
This is the most ancient depiction of the zodiac. In the different quarters, you can see the direction symbolically represented. And in the center, you can see the zodiac in a very early form. You might be able to see Taurus, the bull there, Scorpio, and ancient Egyptian gods intermingled. There's Sagittarius. Outside, you'll see different figures that represent the 36 hands. If you've read the original Hermetic texts, you'll be well aware of the deacons. Likewise, those who are students of Franz Barden will find the secrets of the deacons hidden in his works, only for those with the mature.
But anyways, everything I had talked to prior to showing you that video was eventually adopted by the Babylonians, even though Egypt is credited for like the creation of the first zodiac. So now while there are only 12 constellations that make up the modern zodiac, the one that we refer to today when we're talking about it and its constellations, the classical map of the sky displayed 48 Greek constellations that were derived from not one but two pre-Greek traditions. The one tradition, which is more in relation to what we learn about today, has to do with the 12 signs, again, the ones that we refer to when we're talking about it today, almost all of which are associated with animal constellations. It is believed that the selected animals were placed among the stars because of their acts of heroism. They were developed between 3200 and 500 BC in Mesopotamia, so that's a long, long time ago. The other tradition dated from around 2000 BC, that one closer to the Mediterranean. This had led to do with more of helping the navigation of ships. Just a side note, this is one reason that constellations are important in everyday life. I kind of went over that a little bit in my intro, and I will later in the video. I guess nowadays we would just use navigation. We don't really look to the sky for direction anymore, but once upon a time they did. So instead of lions, women, and bulls, these signs dealt with Hercules, bears, and serpents. So even though there are some animal relations in there, I mean, they're much different than the ones that we talk about. There are other origins of constellations as well, although those are less known, if known at all. It was once assumed that these constellations were made up from fantasies and imagination. However, nowadays people discovered that they were designed as, and I quote, a pictorial scientific coordinate system, which is a set of imaginary lines to measure positions of certain things. So people didn't need satellites, navigation, or instruments. They sort of had the stars to look upon. That's kind of cool. Again, we don't really do that now, but they used to. So like I explained in my introduction video, a lot of people nowadays use their zodiac sign to help predict certain things, especially, pertaining to themselves or their lives. So that idea is not so far-fetched as everybody thinks it is. I was reading a paragraph within my webpage Source History of Astrology, and it reads as follows. While earliest astrology was used to bring a sense of order out of apparent chaos, it was soon utilized to predict weather patterns, primarily for agricultural purposes. It was eventually brought in to include forecasts of natural disasters, war, and other events in the course of human affairs. Amassing successes in these fields, it was a natural progression for astrology to be used in the council of kings and emperors, and in time for all of us too. So if you're wondering how people predict certain things, well, I have an answer for you. When someone is reading their horoscope or their astrological signs, the planets, sun, moon, and don't forget the stars all play a part. Horoscopes chart the positions of these things at a certain time or place of the person's choosing. The time and date is not measured in clock form, so to say. It is measured from the sun's position at the spring equinox. The construction of the chart alone should be considered a science all on its own. The outcome or findings of this chart reveal personality, insight, and certain trends happening in a person's life. So if you're like me and actually enjoy those History Channel videos they used to show in school, I found another pretty interesting video talking about what I just covered, only in a more interesting visual way, which might help people understand a little better. You can either watch the whole thing, which is talking about constellations, or skip to about 2 minutes into where the video begins to kind of relate to what I just talked about. I would have skipped to it for you, but as I mentioned earlier, I'm not tech savvy, so I have no idea how to do that. No idea how to cut a video. So go ahead and watch that, and I hope you think it's as interesting as I did, and then I will get back to you.
From the Latin base co, meaning together with, stella, meaning star, the word constellation means a grouping of stars. Mapped out like a blueprint, constellations are patterns for the billions of stars that are scattered across our sky. Based on mythological stories of Greek gods, creatures, and animals, our heavens have more tales to tell than hieroglyphics at Giza. The meaning and movement of constellations were deeply rooted in Greek culture. Among them, Orion, the hunter, was said to have encountered a venomous scorpion. To escape from the creature, he jumped into the sea, which to the Greeks explained why the constellation Orion appeared from November to March, but disappeared as Scorpius rose to sting him. All of the constellations that we see in our night sky change positions throughout the year. Why does this happen? The Earth spins on its axis, moving east to west, so objects appear to rise in the east and set in the west each day from our vantage point. As Earth continues its path around the sun, different constellations become visible at night, as the sun appears to be in different parts of the sky. There are a total of 88 recognized constellations by the IAU, 12 of which are zodiacs. Zodiac constellations differ from the rest of the 76 because they cross the path of the ecliptic. which is the path that our solar system's planets travel along each year. Because these constellations were so-called touched by the sun, Babylonian astronomers thought they bore significant importance. While viewing constellations, make sure to bring a Greek mythology book so that you can read the many tales of heroism and tragedy that these legends endured in order to earn their place among our heavens.
Alright guys, so this is pretty much it for my video presentation. I hope you enjoyed everything. All the sources, the links for my videos will be in my thread that I put up where you found the link for this video. So yeah, hope I taught you something, hope you enjoyed it. Good luck with your presentations.